Oh look, it's Miss Marvel in the opening credits after her show's already run and still no She-Hulk, even though this is her show. It's almost like Marvel's making its characters earn their way into the opening title, and we won't stand for that kind of bullying elitist crap around here, Marvel.
What is the responsibility of those with power?
Is it great power? Then I think we've established that the responsibility is also to be great. Like, for instance, Marvel has great power, so they're responsible to milk every last cent out of every single character ever created for their shareholders. Am I contenting correctly?
I don't have a Savage Jen Walters look. There it is.
Calling this look savage. I might go with befuddled, constipated, disgusted, or Elvis-ish, but definitely not savage.
The only hulking out I'm going to do is in the legal sense.
Damn it, show. What does any of this mean? What is the legal sense of hulking out? Oh, right. Last time I was watching Perry Mason, there was that one scene where the judge was like, "Are you invoking the standard legal precedent of hulking out vis-a-vis your client's mediation and culpability?" And then Perry was like, "No, Your Honor, I'm not. I'm simply addressing my client's relationship to hulking as it relates to arbitration and sentencing." Classic Mason.
It's true. I am a Hulk.
And apparently a Deadpool. Any other supers you want to crib from, Sheepool? Dead Hulk?
And I'm guessing you're not going to be able to focus on this fun lawyer show until you know all about that.
I mean, I know these shows get studio notes, but I didn't expect them to just write them directly into the script.
A few months ago, I went on a road trip with my cousin Bruce.
Fourth wall breakeration.
Cheetos and chopsticks?
Yes!
I'm assuming there was a brand deal headed into this episode, and the writers had to find a clever way to introduce Cheetos into their storyline. I mean, it's fine, make your money, but in the car? Wait until the scene between Hulk and She-Hulk on the beach when it makes sense. Eating chopstick Cheetos in a car is worse than texting and driving.
You're not the only genius in the family.
No, there's also Ched.
Ched? Ched? Who the is Ched, and is he really a genius? Will he show up in this show? Is he getting his own Ched Hulk show? How dare you drop this Ched bomb and not follow up on it this episode?
Obviously, Captain America wasn't virgin.
Do you ever get the impression that the Marvel shows spend about 40% of their time looking through fan theories and then spinning plot points out of them? Oh, come on. They're never that easy to press. Sorry, I may be experiencing a bit of residual trauma from helping my nephew out of the car seat recently. Those fucking buckles are brutal on my manicure. Well, that happened fast. Did they have a conversation before the accident that explained a blood mixture would be transformative? The time to explain that is before the accident. Oh, look, another QR code that piques your interest and lets you down with a link to a comic. So the sin, as always, is Q reading. Writing this helpful instruction on the chalkboard outside the stalls instead of inside them where it's more needed.
But you do need shoes, because this is a public bathroom.
Wait, do women carry around an extra pair of shoes with them? And they just happen to be close to the right size? Even if both of those things are true, I'm still seeing how complicated it must be to leave the house as a woman.
I don't need you to put makeup on me.
Yes, you do.
People who push their perception of need onto the person who has a need but insists they need not. You can barely see it, but He-Hulk dives in at the last moment here to Ex Machina these punk assholes. And honestly, the sin is that the show didn't let Jen tear one of their arms off and beat the other two with it. So Jen wakes up in Banner's bunker without a clue as to where she is, how she got there, or if she's safe. You'd think her cousin would leave a note for her to find, or some food, or really just any indication that she's well. But no, the show has to build tension for us and throws out the likelihood that Banner would have been a caring host offering more than some suspicious water and a creepy change of clothes. Installing a speaker that just serves this corner of a concrete stairway.
You never have a choice with these names.
I mean, you never have a choice with the names other people call you, but you always have a choice in how you refer to yourself, Bruce. I didn't spend my whole junior high introducing myself to people as Jabba the Butt just because of that one incident in gym class.
That is not the sentence to take a pause on, Bruce.
Did he take a pause? Let's listen.
After the wreck, and you got a lethal dose of gamma radiation.
Lethal?
Nope. You jumped in without even giving him a chance to pause. Not that I blame you, because the real sin is that Bruce even uses the word lethal to begin with when he knows that it's not going to kill you.
The way it synthesized gamma, I was able to use it to completely heal my arm.
Neat. Great. Can we get back to the person who has suddenly turned into a Hulk and is trying to process what this means to her life?
Jen, this is not going away.
And now Jen will make several decent suggestions as to how it could go away, which will all be thwarted away by some classic Marvel yada yada bullshit. Look, it can't go away because then there isn't a show. That's the real reason. And if you're going to make She-Hulk into some sort of Deadpool light, then I'm disappointed she didn't turn to the camera and just say so. How in the hell has she been eating those silver dollar pancakes? Is she literally taking a single bite out of each one? Why are there 6 half-eaten silver dollar pancakes on this plate? Who only eats half of a silver dollar pancake? Also, this fucking plate is ridiculous. Or maybe it's a bowl? Whatever it is, it's not meant to help anyone, especially a Hulk, eat food. Look at it rock back and forth like a boat. And why eat on an uneven tree stump? Is this table designed to infuriate people and turn them into Hulks? Because I think that is happening to me right now.
Put on a Pixar movie. When Bing Bong jumps out of the wagon and Inside Out.
Using corporate synergy to reopen my only recently healed Bing Bong wounds.
Kind of feels like if I don't transform, I'm gonna die. Do you have a plan B for that?
No.
Banner is oddly happy about the way he delivers this line. Sure, he's confident the instincts will kick in, but what if they don't?
What do you normally use this chamber for, you psychopath?
She-Hulk is going to continue to be excellent at She-Hulk-sins, isn't she?
No.
This doesn't work on dogs. Do you really think it would work on a She-Hulk?
This is incredible. You don't have an alter ego. You're the only one in there?
As far as I can tell.
I just waited until now to start speaking normally instead of growling and ripping doors off so that it could be a big revelation for the audience. Did it work?
That's about $1 million worth of damage back there, by the way.
Okay, blame shifter. You put her into the situation in the first place. What did you think was going to happen? A tiny turtle Hulk with a glowing unicorn horn was going to pop out of her ass and spray harmless rainbow glitter around the room?
Fine. Teach me how to Hulk, please.
Sure, I've got this. So basically, you're a monster so powerful that it's impossible to hurt or contain you until the plot needs you to be hurt or contained. How am I doing so far?
First, we're going to practice some mindfulness with a few yoga techniques.
Hold on, how's she back to herself now? We just came from an it's not easy being not green conversation, pondering how she didn't know how to turn back, and we're just starting the next scene with her as Jen? What happened between then and now for her to turn back?
Hold in your farts.
Which reminds me of that time I decided to attend a yoga class after eating a bean burrito. Yes, it was brutal. Yes, it was embarrassing. Yes, you can hold in your farts, but it comes with severe consequences and a high likelihood that your intestines will rebel for the rest of the day.
Oh, I thought it was about getting my butt tight as hell. Rubbed up.
Tatiana Maslany is just the best. You'd think the Banner would have reinforced all of the furniture in his Hulk bungalow already.
You do revert back to Gen form when you sleep.
He says, while currently sitting beside her bed, having just invaded her sleepy privacy like a f***ing creep. Considering Jen doesn't have her own clothes and all she wears was originally Banner's, it's an absolute sin that we never saw Bruce in this shirt of his.
Was the air horn really necessary?
For comedy, absolutely.
Misunderstanding how comedy works.
You're going to need 2 wardrobes. One for Jen and one for your Hulk body.
Which immediately brings into question the entirety of this show, which has both Jen and Hulk Jen in the same clothes the entire time. This Hulk training montage goes on for all of the none of this matters because these powers are undefinable amounts of time. But when did she get to shop for perfectly fitted She-Hulk jean shorts?
All I've been doing is showing you the downsides of being a Hulk.
Downsides? Did I miss that bummer vibe during the last montage of fun Hulk moves to upbeat music?
All buzz, no buzz.
Rejected slogan for the Toy Story Space Ranger spin ride at Disney somehow makes it into the episode.
Built this bar by hand?
Yeah, me and Tony.
A nostalgic place with historical importance to a character currently training another superpowered person? I wonder what will happen to it in this episode.
Bruce, I'm not gonna be a superhero.
What else you gonna do as a Hulk?
Defining someone's career prospects by their physical appearance. I'm tall, okay? Why does that mean I have to put the circular orange bouncy thing into the circular orange metal thing?
Here's the thing, Bruce. I'm great at controlling my anger. I do it all the time. When I'm catcalled in the street, when incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me.
The way this show uses Jen being a woman to inform her abilities and control is kind of genius level storytelling stuff. Nicely done, Marvel. I'm giving you this one more sin back, but don't take it for granted, okay?
I'm asking you to reconsider.
And by asking, he means forcibly detaining you.
What, you think you can just say a bunch of mean things like that and then take off?
She said she loved you and wanted to leave. You said no. She said she didn't want to be a superhero like you. You said she has to be. And you're saying that's mean? Instead of Smart Hulk, can we go with Fragile Ego Hulk? The two Hulks will now fight each other because how would we know it was Marvel if they didn't stage some pointless battle between two heroes that doesn't really tell us anything about their relative powers, but instead just gives us some sketchy CGI to look at. Applauding someone to death may be the most passive-aggressive superhero power in the history of the universe. Oh, and the dumbest.
I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
I might be able to get on board with some fourth wall breakage, but did Hulk just hear her talk to the audience as well? Are we fleabagging this shit or just Malcolm in the middling? Because there's a big difference there and I need to know the rules.
Lawyer show.
And she knows she's in a show? I do not understand how to process where this lands in the multiverse and my part in it. Is this like the never-ending story? And I'm riding along with Childlike Empress or some shit?
Don't screw this up, Walters.
Assholing so hard that you're willing to put your own financial well-being at stake by psyching out your own partner.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Convenient. Titania's Titanic terrorism triggering Tatiana's totally timely titular transformation is convenient.
I'm ready to give my closing argument now.
But first, shouldn't everyone be tended to? A ceiling beam collapses, people were nearly smashed by a desk, there's debris everywhere, and the jury likely needs to take a minute to reconnect with reality. We're all impressed that Jen has the emotional fortitude to bypass the shock of the attack and get back to the task at hand, but not everyone is going to keep pace. Maybe ask if everyone's okay first?
Captain America!
A little help for all the parents who had to fill in the blank on this one. Here are some options. Captain America funded several charities. Captain America forgot to buy milk. Captain America fulfilled his greatest wishes before dying heroically, which was to
What happened to me?
Show starts by going previously on and on about an entire episode it did with a normal amount of rage and a completely abnormal amount of flashback exposition. Another thing with this previously on is that it is inadvertently making an argument against the existence of the last episode by fitting its entire story neatly into the first minute of this episode. This is like being the star witness in a case against yourself. Showing up dressed like Chris Angel and not doing magic.
Where superpowered influencer Titania caused panic while fleeing traffic court.
Super people superfluously superfluencing. Also, why did you use the same sketch twice? If you only have two, use two, or at least flip the other sketch horizontally so it's a little different. KPVK news producers better up their game if they want those local Emmys.
A new superhero appears responsible for stopping the rampage.
Continued news position. You can change the channels all you want, but it'll earn you the same sin. Not keeping your orange slices handy.
Members of the jury are calling the green woman a hero who saved lives.
Damn it, show. Here's 5 cents for even more news position. I didn't ask for second exposition, or 3, or 11sies, or afternoon tea. You get the bit.
That's for you. No.
But why is it for her? Did they see her coming? Have they been chanting this all night? Are they superhero hooligans? How drunk are these lawyers?
Lady Hulk, Girl Hulk, She Hulk, come on.
No. You mustn't leave out Mademoiselle Hulk.
I can't even exist without being a derivative of the Hulk.
That's a pretty dumb name, too.
Nikki would be the excellent Hulk at TVSins.
No, I did not go to law school and rack up 6 figures in student loans to become a vigilante. That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans for some reason.
Thinking child orphans can't be vigilantes. MCU Spider-Man got his start at 15 without billions of dollars or an ounce of narcissism.
Do the Avengers offer healthcare?
I think having the advanced regenerative capabilities of a Hulk render needing healthcare moot. Wait, did I just solve the healthcare crisis? Hulk blood for all!
No, you did the right thing, but it unraveled our case.
This did not unravel the case. It rendered the jury impartial, sure, but since this occurred under unusual circumstances, the case should be able to be retried with a different jury. Now, since I did not pass the LSATs, and I do not know if it's a test that can be passed, I have to say that my understanding of actual laws is not nearly enough to confirm or deny the validity of my previous statement. However, when this court is in sin session, I am granted the leeway to express my desire for a fair and equitable system that would not allow for injustices like this to prevail. In closing, I am hoping this performative yet most likely inaccurate legalese would persuade you to rule in favor of my client and the opinions of the common citizen. I rest my case.
No, Jen, I'm sorry. I have to let you go.
Firing your employee in a bar instead of waiting for her to return to the office during normal business hours. Pretty sure this is a labor violation of some kind in California. And if it isn't, the sin is California.
We can't hire a lawyer who's such a big distraction in court.
And what about this? Is this not an equal employment issue? I mean, this feels very discriminatory. Where's a lawyer when you need one? I mean, that would really be ideal if there was a lawyer around that could explain this. Oh well.
Sorry. It's a no.
If all these people weren't going to hire Jen from the start, why did they bother interviewing her? It's not like she was going to stop being a Hulk between the interview and her hypothetical hire date. All you did was waste your time. And if the hiring process has taught me one thing, it's that corporations and HR departments really value your time.
No, you can't work here. They don't have good snacks.
Ginger Gonzaga is one of the best and funniest parts about this show. 1 cent off for the best friend we could all use in real life. Disney and these fucking QR codes that they just love sprinkling all over the place. The gall of them to engage in such shameless self-promotion of their brand. Yep, that's America's booty right there. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I posit a great many of you have some booty pics on your phone too, and some of you might even be looking at booty pics right now as you listen to me yammer on in the background. Well, I just want you to know that 100% of those butts are either pre-fart or post-fart, depending on when the picture was taken. So the sin, as always, is trying to enjoy a butt next to a text from your mom.
You know, this much sugar is very bad for you and your waistline.
Oh, I see. We're doing the mom body shames daughter storyline. That's bold and fresh. Let me guess. Next, she asks if Jen has a boyfriend yet? Ched.
Employed and promoted.
Writers have this family start familying super hard straight out of the gate, instead of easing us in with a little foreplay so we have time to acclimate and process the fact that I just used the word foreplay while referencing family.
Now, Jen, that Hawkeye guy, what happens to those arrows of his? I mean, does he go around and collect them when he's done?
Now, there's being meta, and then there's kowtowing to every silly question the internet comes up with. The proper way to do this is to have Jennifer take on a case where Hawkeye is being sued because some children found his arrows and poked one of their stupid eyes out.
May I buy you a drink?
Is this a bar that caters exclusively to lawyers? Because so far we've seen Kenny, Nikki, and her past and future bosses all in this bar when she's here. So I guess what I'm trying to say is convenient bar timing is convenient.
You got me fired, now you want to hire me.
Actually, you got you fired. Sure, the reason was bullshit, but this man didn't force you to turn into She-Hulk during the courtroom struggle.
It's got some office supplies to get you started, snacks, and a map to the best bathroom for pooping.
That is the nicest thing I have ever seen anyone do for another person.
Can't come in like that. No superpowers inside.
Her powers aren't a bow and arrow or a metal suit that she can discard. Even if you have her transform back into regular Jen, her powers are still inside her, ready to use at a moment's notice when she transforms again. This would be like asking me to discard my unhealthy obsession with sour apple flavored gummy worms before entering a building. I'll pretend, but so help me if one of those green jellies of squirmy deliciousness appears in the room, it is over.
So you're gonna serve me up with some fava beans and a nice piano?
Ma'am, this is a prison.
That doesn't mean you have to lock up the comedy.
We have 7 soulmates that I met through the prison pen pal program that I want to start a new life with.
Somehow my elevator pitch for a new season of The Real World makes it into the episode. Show wants us to remove a sin for calling Tim Roth back from The Incredible Hulk. And we might have done it if we weren't suddenly reminded that we were denied Edward Norton in the remainder of the MCU. No shade intended to Ruffalo, but we'll always wonder what could have been with Norton. So here's a sin for reminding us of that.
Captain Bloody America. Something, you know.
Tragic, but as we all know, Captain Bloody America debuted in Falcon and the Winter Soldier when he decapitated that guy with Cap's shield, so bringing him up now is a sin. Show wants me to believe that Bruce Hulk is able to answer this phone with those hands when my mostly normal hands couldn't even swipe right without accidentally sharing my love interest with a group chat comprised of every contact I have in my phone.
I'm a completely different person now, literally.
Do your writers need to visit an optometrist? I only ask because that last wink was so hard, I'm worried you might have busted your retina.
What'd they end up naming you anyway?
Why doesn't he know this? It was such big news that a whole bar broke into chanting, and surely some family members would have posted it on social media. Bruce should totally be in the know on this. And before you say that he's far away in space, I will remind you that he's currently talking on a cell phone, so he clearly has reception. I don't know why he has reception, but he has reception and should be receiving the same news, tweets, and Zillow notifications that he always does.
I got some things I gotta take care of.
I've already got a winning strategy, and it is 100% in the bag.
There's confidence, and then there's trying to jinx yourself, which happens almost immediately, and we all saw it coming.
You might want to take a look at the news right now.
Introducing us to the ugly news positional cousin of the better come take a look at this cliche.
Come on up. Come on. There you go.
Being in the neighborhood of the beast.
What happened to me?
This isn't about you, Jen. This is about me. I'm having to watch the same previously ons that were previously on the previously on section of episode 2. And that was after watching the actual scene in episode 1.
Who the hell are you?
The more important question is, why aren't we seeing more of Titania yet? You've got Jamila f***ing Jamil, and you're sticking her on the sidelines for the first few episodes? What is wrong with you, She-Hulk attorney at law? Wait, she's been to the super prison once as far as we know, and that's all it takes for her to enter? Just a simple flash of her driver's license? Shouldn't the guard at a super prison at least check the ID a little closer for, I don't know, security? Attempting to disguise your QR codes in fabric, but then not making the pattern stand out enough in the design that the QR code actually works. Surviving 9 years in retail. Who sits like this next to the window? It's a cool shot, but it kind of seems like it only exists because the director wanted it to.
I know you can't wait to see Wong. I get it.
Wonging the fourth wall. Also, eyes on the road, please. Time didn't appear to freeze when you broke the fourth wall.
Just remember whose show this actually is.
And you just remember to stop making sustained eye contact with me while I poop.
Attorney Jennifer Walters of law firm GLK&H.
Can we go one episode without relying on the crutch of news position, please? Here's 10 cents for the inevitable news position we'll undoubtedly see going forward. Bragging about your doubloons.
I don't get it. Why are you turning everything more female?
This outrage is realistic, but it really doesn't make sense in a world where superheroes exist. Internet fanboys like this exist in our world, where superheroes are fictional beings and creative direction changes every few years, like introducing more women or people of color or queer characters into legacy titles. So backlash is expected, but in a world where superheroes are real people, not fictional characters being made to appeal to widening audiences, that sort of backlash doesn't add up. She-Hulk wasn't a character introduced in a fictional story in this world. She's a real woman named Jennifer who became She-Hulk through a car crash. In the MCU, nobody manufactured her, so her sudden existence shouldn't be controversial for this particular reason.
Mr. Wong. Great entrance. Perfect timing.
It is perfect timing. It's almost as if the writers on this show knew they only had half an hour to work with and crammed as much plot as they could into the episode.
I really need to take this.
Let's recap briefly here. Jen arrived in her office only to be summoned to another office where upon arrival she immediately needs to depart to go back to another office. So the sin, as always, is the office.
I extracted him from the prison against his own wishes because I required a worthy opponent as part of my training to become Sorcerer Supreme.
And in a world full of superhuman and very worthy opponents for Wong to fight, he had to pick one that was in prison? Why didn't he ask Thor or Spider-Man or the cousin of the woman sitting right in front of him? And do the Sorcerer Supreme regulations condone breaking potential worldwide threats out of prison to fight in their version of the Kumite? Because that is all kinds of f***ed up.
So, Mr. Bukowski, how much money in cash and gifts did you spend on the Megan Thee Stallion imposter?
I love the Megan Thee Stallion She-Hulk twerking meme as much as anyone, but I feel like there was an easier way to get to that moment than this uninteresting B-plot where we have to spend way too much time with f***ing Dennis, the cliched woman-hungry asshat attorney. Also, I have now trademarked the title, Dennis the cliched woman-hungry asshat attorney, so if you'd like to use that in any way, Disney, I'm listening.
I don't. You guys know me.
Pug sets the story straight with his coworkers, assuring them that when the elf said this,
I love harassing women in the workplace,
everyone knew it wasn't him. But how did he hear the shapeshifter spew her bullshit in the first place? The real Pug was in his office with the door closed.
Is it true you were rejected by the Avengers?
That was Jennifer Walters, also known as She-Hulk, rumored to have been rejected by the Avengers.
Broadcast journalism. This horrific table that basically demands we all look at the leg spread crotch shot of whoever sits in the hot center seat.
But I think we all know how this is going to go. So let's keep this brief.
I'm not under any illusion that parole hearings in the American justice system are 100% impartial, but don't you have to at least keep up the appearance that Emil is going to get a fair hearing? Wouldn't you open yourself up to a lawsuit of some kind otherwise?
I don't think we need to get into that any further. Any other questions?
Having been involved in several court cases and parole hearings, in which I will not specify my role, I can confidently say I've never once seen law officials raise their hands to speak as though they are kindergartners.
Instead of toilet wine, prisoners make toilet kombucha.
Asking me to be impressed with this change when we all know that kombucha is normally made in toilets.
I find it hard to believe that Mr. Bukowski could be fooled so easily.
My reaction to watching every episode of Catfish somehow makes its way into this episode.
In light of some new information I've just received, I'm changing my ruling.
Ha! This shapeshifting character has allowed for some fun moments with the cast, and I'm smiling despite myself. But I'm not laughing, so that's a sin. The Abomination takes off both Crocs, then the camera gets closer, and he does it again. This must mean he has a super ability to recreate Crocs from thin air, and that is truly an abomination.
You realize that you've just admitted to facilitating a prisoner escape, which is a crime.
I must depart.
This works.
This can go away, you know, with one little interview.
Believing that one interview on any news station will clear up anything ever.
Connecting the A and B story? Nice.
Only when the B story is less interesting than the A story, but in this case, I'm far more interested in the cheeky elf.
We also sentenced the defendant to 60 days for impersonating a judge.
Show about lawyers demonstrates that it cannot differentiate between civil and criminal court. We find the writers guilty of a lack of research and sends them to 50 more sins.
That's right. There's only one Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah, but you're not her. You're clearly an apparating apostle from Asgard because you were not in that seat 55 seconds ago. I mean, why shorten courtroom when you can shift the word to the empty space at the bottom of the sign? Lazy sign making is lazy.
We hereby grant Mr. Blonsky's release on parole effective immediately.
Gathering the press, the 8 soulmates, and all the prison staff together to announce something that could have been an email. I'm just looking at Jen's face as She-Hulk, and I'm wondering if her makeup just magically shifts to a green hue on its own, or does she have a green-themed eye palette at the ready just to keep that natural look in Hulk form?
So now whether I like it or not, I am forever She-Hulk.
Great. We have to take a break.
After one question? You want to know one of the main reasons why less people watch linear television these days? This is why. These idiots managed to land a hit or two using the Asgardian tech, but none of the blows even faze She-Hulk. In previous Marvel films, we've seen alien tech was enough to at least knock Hulk down. Hell, Tony knocked out a tooth without alien tech. Shouldn't She-Hulk at least get knocked back an inch or two? Show a small sign of impact? Nobody expects these guys to defeat her, but if you're gonna go through all the trouble of showing off Asgardian tech, shouldn't it do something? Random Asgardian weapons thieves survive this, which is good because I don't want She-Hulk to be a murderer. At least I don't think I do. I mean, maybe I... No. Definitely don't want She-Hulk to be a murderer.
Hey, there's my new favorite client.
Fun cameo, but why would Megan Thee Stallion be one of Jennifer's clients in the Superhuman Law Division? I realize some of the hardcore MCU fans complain about this show being a little lighter, maybe a little sillier, but what in the hell is wrong with that? We've got She-Hulk and Megan Thee Stallion twerking. Loosen up a little, have some fun. You and the MCU will live longer. Not everything has to be about dead parents. In fact, I wish a little less was. Previously on segment tricks us into thinking there'll be some more Titania action, but we only get a brief shot of her on a freaking television at the end of the episode.
He's either a sorcerer who lives in New York or a librarian who lives in Nepal.
Why is Nikki confused? You can see on the phone that presently he's a sorcerer who lives in New York. It's literally the only job title listed as present. If she's going to consider the possibility he's also still a librarian, then why no mention of the Target sales associate listing? Also, I feel like we can't state enough that surviving 9 years in retail might as well be a prison sentence, and Wong will always get a send-off for getting out alive.
Fire! Behold, flame!
Show will try to paint this less than magic man as a simple charlatan, but never address the fact that he clearly has spent more time working on his abs than he has on his act. Now, I have to explain to the kids that the issue here is not focusing on your priorities.
And what is your name, young lady?
Madison with 2 N's, 1 Y, but it's not where you think.
You don't think I know where your Y is, and I don't know why that whole thing sounded way more sexual than it was.
Donnie Blaze!
Getting a Donnie Blaze when you'd have preferred a Johnny Blaze, in case you confused it with Kathmandu, Kansas. We wouldn't dare play the music Wong's listening to, but the sin is the Sopranos series finale.
This is the one where they kill Adriana. It was so sad.
You just ruined it.
Sorry, Wong. That episode of The Sopranos aired almost 2 decades ago. The spoiler statute of limitations is long run out.
You look happy.
Show doesn't actually know how I look. At least I hope not. Wait a second. What is that blinking light in the corner over there?
I guess you saw that Wong is back. God, everybody loves Wong. It's like giving the show Twitter armor for a week.
I didn't immediately jump to the conclusion that the writers were using Wong as a gimmick, but pointing it out this way feels pretty gimmicky. The show just managed to fourth wall break itself into admitting that the intention was to exploit Wong's popularity, and this is supposed to be fun for the viewer?
Good morning, sweetheart.
I get Morris as Jen's father, but opening someone else's door without knocking first is always going to get you a sin. What if Jen was Hulk smashing a new friend she met at the bar last night? You don't want to walk in on that, Morris.
What's the shovel for?
Digging holes. Let's just leave it at that.
I know Jen understands plausible deniability, but I'm still going to be asking more questions about the purpose of the shovel and not just leave it at that. And Jen should too. Going with matcher instead of mumble or hinder.
Miss Walters, a legal situation of the greatest importance.
Is it though? Because I have a sneaking suspicion that the only reason it's presented as a legal problem is that the show is titled She-Hulk Attorney at Law, thereby requiring all problems that arise to be dealt with via lawsuit instead of fight court.
Miss Walters, we answer to a higher power that abides by the metaphysical laws of the time-space continuum.
Then why have you come to GLK and H instead of consulting your higher power?
Do you want to leave your information with me this time?
Cool trick, but there's not a single piece of contact information on this card. Just a name and a title. The Sorcerer Supreme is being more of a sorcerer not listening.
Did you just woo-woo a parole brief?
I don't know enough about laws or files to say in a strict sense what confidential even means, but I'm pretty sure your case files fall in the category of things you shouldn't bring to a bar, even a law-themed bar.
I hate to see 2 stunning women sitting
all alone.
Okay, well, there's two of us. So, by definition, not alone.
Nikki would be master of the articulate arts at TVSins.
Got your ball.
Wong definitely did not know where that ball had been.
Anyway, I hate LA. Everyone here is so phony. See, I'm a New Yorker, through and through.
Oh, how long did you live there?
14 months.
Show is troping so hard on this bad date that I'm surprised they didn't just give this guy an asshole so we know that he's an apple. Or did they? I think I f***ed something up in the earlier sentence.
I must say, Counselor, I am hard-pressed to believe that a magic trick could constitute gross negligence.
Well, I'm hard-pressed to believe that this story is taking place on Earth 616. Considering all the miracles this world has witnessed, how is anything above suspicion, and how do you keep your job as a judge and not be able to fathom that disappearing people isn't a cause for concern?
I'm going to show you my high school dance routine right now.
This episode has raised more legal questions about non-consensual portaling than it has given legal answers about pretty much anything going on right now. Disney Plus did not immediately announce a Madison and Wongers series right after this episode aired.
Oh, did you get a ticket for texting? Just say you were texting 911, they can't prosecute.
That isn't what this is, and that's not true.
As it turns out, texting and driving is uniformly illegal everywhere in the U.S., except in Montana, where the decision has largely been left up to the cities, and Missouri, where you have to be 21 to indulge in the joys of distracted driving. Which makes sense, because you definitely want that to coincide with the legal consumption of alcohol. No, wait, that doesn't make sense. So, I guess the sin is, as always, the Gateway Arch.
You can't bring that drink in here.
Well, she did do it, so I guess you can do it even though you shouldn't do it. The problem is that Judge Hannah's sloppy ruling on this cocktail has cast doubt on the legitimacy of the whole trial.
Madison is with 2 N's, 1 Y, but it's not where you think.
I realized I sinned this turn of phrase earlier in the episode, but I also didn't realize Patty Guggenheim would show back up and steal the episode from everyone. So I'll at least halfway make up for my supposed error in judgment here.
Which honestly is so dramatic, and I hate drama.
The reason we've never sent another episode of This Is Us somehow makes its way into the episode.
The men you see are seeking to wield the power of gods.
But Wong has known about Donnie Blaze for a while now and is only taking him to court because he sent Madison to Wong's apartment where she spoiled a Sopranos episode. Wong clearly was not concerned about Donnie Blaze's act before then.
One man in the mortal realm has the ability to cause a ripple so great it reverberates through every dimension. And that ripple through galaxies has the ability to destroy all life within the known and unknown universe.
The tonal dissonance between the potential impact that Wong just laid out and the slapstick litigation that's playing out in this courtroom makes us all ask why he is f***ing around with what is clearly an inept supernatural justice system instead of going full Punisher on the situation. Or at least breaking all the rules like former Sorcerer Supreme.
I'm not proud of this.
Show expects us to believe that men would want to date Jen when she's turned into She-Hulk, but that men would not want to date Jen when she simply looked like Tatiana Maslany. And I do not believe you, Show.
Is there anything worse than dating in your 30s?
I mean, getting unintentionally exposed to Hulk-changing radiation that's upended your life, which was going perfectly fine beforehand, seems like it would be in the ballpark.
I'm in medicine.
So not only is this a discount Jesse Williams, but he also plays a doctor? I hope that doesn't mean the show is turning into a discount Grey's Anatomy. Or do I actually want that to happen? I kind of do, but I don't. But I kind of do.
Also, should we split some fries?
Yeah, let's get those to go.
Shoehorning in this she-horny subplot is only a sin because the Incredible Hunk turns out to be just another boy cliche. That is not a creature that gets an oh moment. That is a creature that gets an oh f me, I'd rather you send me to the truck stop in Pomona moment. Also, of all the infinite possibilities at their disposal, the writers reached into their bag of tricks and pulled out the plot of Gremlins.
He can see things before they happen.
Writers thought that including clips of the overdramatic This Is Us and the underdramatic She-Hulk would bring balance to the universe, when we all know you need a show willing to kill at least half of its characters, like Game of Thrones, or Lost, or Blake 7. Also, just so we're clear, I had zero clue there would be a scene of Wong watching This Is Us before I made the This Is Us comment earlier. But here we are. That probably should get us a sin removal, but also This Is Us. So, no.
Donnie Blaze opened the wrong portal. I need your help.
Calling your lawyer when you have a whole Rolodex of super friends who are more experienced and most likely better equipped to handle the situation.
I'm not sure exactly what I'm supposed to be doing here?
Be a Hulk! Wong being too busy with his Sorcerer Supreming to realize that Smash was right there.
Before I send my little friend here back to his own dimension, I was wondering if you would agree to the terms of our cease and desist.
Which is something Jen should be able to get regardless after this demonstration of how badly Donnie's magic shows can go. But instead, she's now given Donnie a fighting chance with her threat of bodily harm that he even has a witness for. What the f, Jen? She-Hulk, Wong, and the Portal team up to make this entrance as steamy as possible because the show thinks that harnessing the power of our collective non-gender specific boners will prevent this skip. And it works.
Hot doctor's a cliche anyway.
She's suing you for misuse of a trademark.
Oh, yay! Trademark infringement twist. I cannot wait to...
Your battle with Titania in court, it was incredible.
The previously on has become self-aware and is now doing its own outtakes. Or the show's editor is being clever. Better send it though, just in case.
I've got court documents.
Thinking we needed to be reminded of court documents.
She-Hulk by Titania.
In our universe, it takes 12 to 18 months to trademark a name. And while I'm not sure what the timelines are in any part of the story, I'm pretty damn sure a whole year hasn't gone by. If you're going to put attorney at law in your show, then you're also going to need to explain what superpower Titania possesses that enables her to navigate the bureaucratic process so quickly.
You're listening to Pro Se, Law 360's podcast. Here's a quick word from our sponsor.
Hey, Titaniacs.
Did Titania actually purchase an ad spot on a law podcast? Or did the writers of the show just need Jen to hear another ad from Titania? It's that, isn't it?
You can't just walk into my house!
Oh, what you want me to tell you? I kind of just did that.
Jennifer's father did the same thing in the previous episode. Is she not locking her doors? Or are they breaking the doors every time they come in? What the f is going on with the Seinfeldian door situation? Side note, just in case the Seinfeldian door situation turns out to be a prog rock band, I'm talking about the Constant Kramer entry that appears to be going on here. Second side note, just in case Constant Kramer entry turns out to be also Ched.
I'm so sorry, little child, but the line starts way back there.
Jamil is fantastic at playing snooty characters. Quickly take a sin off so I can continue sending this show to the bad place.
I can't believe she just stole my name like that.
Hang on, that's it? Jen showed up at Titania's event, told her to stop using her name, was told no, and then went and got an orange mocha frappuccino? Well, the last part is just what I assume happened off screen. It makes at least as much sense as expecting Titania to be like, oh, my bad, here, take your name back. What was the point of that entire scene?
She-Hulk is just a thing that happened to me.
Inadvertently sharing a perspective with TVSins writers.
I need a favor.
Oh, well, you know my price. Return favor, plus interest.
If there is interest, then regardless of what you want to call it, that is not a price, that's a loan. And I'm pretty sure that makes Nikki a predatory lender. Also, how does interest even work on a favor? If it's not paid back immediately, does Pug owe Nikki 5% of a favor each month on top of the original favor he borrowed from her? Damn it, She-Hulk, you made me think about math. When I think about math, I get angry. And when I get angry, Great. Now I'm going to be safety orange for the rest of the episode.
Will you stand in line with me waiting for a sneaker drop? The Iron Man 3s are coming out and they're limited to 1 pair per customer.
Writers thought it'd be fun to pique the interest of every sneakerhead watching, then take the plot in a different direction that never even gives us a mid-credit scene to provide some comfort in the knowledge that these kicks do exist and will eventually be revealed. Also, no one needs 2 pairs. 1 Iron Man 3 was excessive to begin with.
I'm not going to brag to you or anything, but I do have some pretty rare limited editions that I got from my trip broker.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. I like Pug. He's polite, charming, and doesn't have an ounce of toxicity in him. But I've already taken off a sin, so this sin is for not letting us see any of Pug's rare sneaker collection. Show me the epic superhero sneakers, Marvel.
But I am letting you slide on the interest, aren't I?
Oh, no. I'm not going down that road again. Math is my greatest enemy, with the exception of the entire state of Ohio. Here's 2 sins for almost getting me riled up about numbers again.
This says Avengers.
You don't like Avengers? I got Avengers.
This backroom hustle that turns out to be counterfeit merch is funny, but don't think I can't see what's going on here. Disney Marvel plans to make inroads into the counterfeit market by making their own counterfeits, which by the end of the episode will be a coveted commodity. And as the mouse machine gets increasingly more market share, the profitability for other counterfeit manufacturers will plummet, meaning that former counterfeiters will have to make counterfeits of the counterfeits. Now, because of the inverse property of counterfeiting, this will result in the counterfeiters making authorized merchandise. And once the pendulum swings too far in that direction, Disney will reverse course, starting the cycle all over again. The whole time always being the invisible hand on the wheel, steering the ship and our lives from port to port as we suckle on the teat of our new entertainment overlord. Also, thinking your Purple Hulk Easter egg would distract us from the Iron Person with an arrow pointing at their genitals. As they wait for their chat with the super exclusive Super Tailor, I'm left wondering what was even the point of that bootleg merchandise gatekeeper sub-boss guy that required an offering to set up this meeting. It took them all 5 minutes and probably like $20 to get here. This whole adventure reeks of Kanto Bite.
Why did I pass a billboard on Santa Monica Boulevard today advertising a She-Hulk Booty Boost smoothie?
I'm just going to assume it's because the alternates of Booty Burst, Booty Juice, and Booty Sweat tested poorly across nearly every demographic. But it's more likely that the writers needed a colorful line of dialogue that paired well with your nuts that you were eating, so we would know that you really are a salty asshole as opposed to a sweet one.
GLK and H made She-Hulk the face of our superhuman law division. And now we find ourselves in the middle of a frivolous lawsuit.
Apparently, GLK and H also did not do any research into making sure that the face of their superhuman law division owned the trademark. In other words, Show is saying that this company of lawyers didn't do law.
Did Doctor Strange have to trademark his name? Did Thor?
You chose two examples of people who use their real names.
Okay, that one got me. But the humor in this isn't going to stop the sin you're getting for bringing up a valid question about Captain America, Falcon, and the Winter Soldier, but not answering it.
This is the person who legally outmaneuvered you?
Well, she is smart enough to run a successful business. Unethical, sure, but successful nonetheless. So judging her legal prowess based solely on this giant hat is a surprisingly shallow observation for a show centered around the concept of people growing bigger.
But if you're going to be my client, you need to dress like you respect yourself and not like a football player pleading no contest to a DUI.
This case is resolved so quickly that Jennifer won't even get her clothes in time enough to be the well-dressed client Mallory deserves. And Nikki will momentarily reveal that she is already litigating her bestie's fashion crimes. So why is lying?
You obviously spend a lot of time thinking about what you're going to wear.
For an intelligent lawyer who uses smart words, she sure spends a lot of time booking a judge by its cover. You know what I mean.
Miss Book may enjoy wasting the court's time, but you can be certain that I do not.
Wasting the court's time by smugly saying that someone is wasting the court's time. Cliché. Is no one in the court concerned about this throat-slashing gesture? Even the NFL, an organization built around bodily harm, issues suspensions and fines for this kind of shit. But you can just do it in court and no one cares?
She is going to be a megastar.
Her? Luke has to act like this is unfathomable, because not believing that the star of the show could possibly be a star is some kind of multiversal constant used to mark the beginning of the character's aesthetic transformation. This douche ex machina will turn out to be the key to Jennifer winning her case against Titania.
I made a dating profile as She-Hulk. Every single one of those dates is a corroborating witness. This is how I win this case.
Holy shit. Are you going to tell me that the writers created a Chekhov's date montage in the last episode? That's not only impressive, it's sensational. You have been served.
My client wrote, and I quote, "mean, green, and straight poured into these jeans."
We would normally say roll commercials here, but to stay on theme, I'm going to go with the prosecution rests. The prosecution rests? Maybe? Listen, I'm really doing the best I can here.
Would you have gone on the date if She-Hulk had instead presented as Jennifer Walters?
Look, I don't mean to be rude, but no.
This is a great character moment, seeing Jen having to grapple with the complexity of dual identities and the pain that comes with one of them being rejected while the other one is celebrated. She-Hulk kicks ass, but because of all the courtroom drama that the writers apparently didn't know how to navigate, we find ourselves much like Jennifer, emotionally confused and hoping for something more.
This isn't over, hater.
Oh boy. Can't wait for this show to explain the California Courts of Appeal. In fact, I'm going to call my good buddy John Grisham and see if he wants to watch the next episode with me. Okay, Hello, John. Hey, it's Dicer from TVSins. Yeah. So the restraining order wasn't a joke. Oh, that's a real court document. Oh, sorry. I thought it was a little bit of a gift. Yeah, I've been watching She-Hulk again, and okay, I'll hang up now. Sorry, Mr. Grisham.
I don't know any other lawyer who would humiliate themselves that way to win a case.
Fletcher Reed has entered the chat.
Holloway could never have gone through that. He's never had to prove his value to a parade of underwhelming men.
This is most likely true based on everything we know about him, but the show has produced no evidence to corroborate this statement. And he seems like the type of guy to pledge a fraternity. So, objection, hearsay, motion to dismiss, other court words.
Think about everything that She-Hulk brings to the table, and those guys were my best option.
I know I'm about to sinsplain my way into the middle of this conversation that is more about commiseration than a strict interpretation of her statements. However, Mallory literally just said the opposite of this in the previous scene.
Look, Walters, what that extremely attractive man said in there, you can do better.
So let this be a reminder that constantly reminding yourself of your value can be an essential part of self-care.
Oh, yeah, my clothes.
Oh, you, TV show, and your fourth wall breaking afterthought about the new wardrobe that you're not even going to show us in this episode.
Ooh, I like it.
Of course you do, because I'm a genius.
Do fashion designers actually have such massive egos? Or do we all think this makes sense just because this is the most common way they're portrayed on screen?
Tinsley, does client confidentiality mean nothing to you?
Oh great, just what this show needed. More lawyers. This inappropriate promo code. I'm not hip enough to know what stranging someone is, but I know enough that they probably shouldn't be advertising for people to come strang this beauty. Also, 90 seconds of previously logoning. Nope, there is no way that amount of confetti stayed in that card when you were holding it like this 3 seconds ago. Gravity and common sense would have at least indicated this envelope was ready to burst long before you clumsily spilled it all over your floor.
And it's twice as much of a sin to kill a fun person.
And thrice as much of a sin for a plot to separate the protagonist from the sidekick they have amazing chemistry with for the rest of the episode.
Real talk, why does anyone have a wedding on a Thursday?
Right? I recently had to attend a wedding on a Friday. Not just any Friday, the Friday of Thanksgiving weekend. This sin is for anyone who schedules any guilt attendance event on any day other than a Saturday between April and August. My convenience is more important than your venue discount. Start the remainder of your life in debt like the rest of us.
Yes, it's a self-contained wedding episode, and if you think this is happening at an inconvenient time in the season, you're right.
She-Hulk hangs a lantern on the fourth wall to do our job for us. Cliché. Also, most bridesmaids are selected way in advance. They're usually part of the wedding planning, so why is Jen just getting notice a few days before the event? Seems like a massive oversight on the part of the bride, or the show just needed a way to drum up some quick tension. I'm thinking it's the latter. Walking in heels on grass.
No one's gonna be looking at me.
You're 7 feet tall and green, Jen. Everyone is most certainly going to be looking at you.
Yeah, obviously, this is the one time I didn't want to show up as just Jen.
Roll commercial. Wait, did they just change the title card to be the title of the episode instead of the show? Whoa! I've only read about this in the Sins lore of old. All right, I have to remember my Sin Academy training here. I think this calls for a sin factor of 5. I don't recall if it's for the current sin or the current total sins, though, and since I can't look it up because I lost my sin manual in that freak PB&J accident, I guess it's all up to me, so here you go.
I'm a good guy. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Thinking that hurt feelings are always a result of immoral choices.
I die, but only for a little. Kind of die, but I do die.
This die conversation goes on for all the some time. Here's 2 sins for an unfunny gag I'm sure they won't be repeating. I get you're immortal and everything, but other than comedic reasons, why would you lead with your face while going through a window? Also, aren't there other liability issues here as well? I'd like to see Jen take the case of the family of an innocent bystander he eventually accidentally lands on top of. Of course, then we would send you for filching the entire premise of The Boys and Invincible and
Lulu, Team Edward or Jacob?
I can't believe I have to go over this again when this joke was old in 2009, but Jacob ends up being attracted to Bella's unborn baby, which is all kinds of yuck, and Edward is a 104-year-old man who stalks a minor, so the real answer should be Team FBI.
You made it. You're so busy, though. You have like 5,000 businesses.
Wait, so you're worried everyone would be looking at She-Hulk, but you didn't consider that a superstar like Titania would also draw attention away from you on your big day? I'm sensing double standards, and that's worth double sins.
No, she has weaseled her way into this wedding to mess with me. That is so obvious. Why does nobody else see that?
Valid question. And honestly, the level of oblivious assholitude that Lulu displays in this scene actually makes me hate Jen for even being her friend. And I'm pretty sure that was not the intended outcome.
See, my plan was to strike up a very normal conversation with a beautiful woman stuffing her face with candy nuts.
And I'm very good at sticking to my plan.
Yeah, I can tell.
Seriously, it doesn't matter who she's in a scene with. Titania Maslany is absolutely magnetic on screen. Am I going to take a sin off for her every single episode? No, but it won't be for lack of trying. I'm going to ignore the paper-thin connecting of this B-plot to the season arch. You know what? I'm not. Send that nonsense. But what's most sinful here is that Nikki has written down New Orleans Jazz Festival, and you don't need that apostrophe after the S in New Orleans.
Frankly, all of these spouses should be filing criminal charges.
Except they can't. Only a prosecuting attorney can file criminal charges. These victims can file civil lawsuits, which is what we're supposedly doing here in this lawyer show that can't lawyer half the time.
I will never understand women if I live to be and I will.
A very strange avenue of sexism for a man who was clearly also married to a man who is also in this room. Making everyone watch you play Switch like this instead of being courteous enough to bring the dock and find a TV, Kevin.
He's so brave. We just had to resuscitate him this morning.
So your dog died, presumably from the stress of living with you, and then when he came back, you thought his health was strong enough to attend a wedding ceremony where he'd be surrounded by hundreds of unfamiliar scents, people, and sounds? Sounds like abuse. So here's 5 sins for that poor pupper.
Lady Sebastian, how about this?
Kudos to Marvel on the bisexual visibility in the show. This episode casually works in that detail about Mr. Immortal's life without making a huge fuss about it. And it's the same with Nikki's love life. This show may not lawyer well, but it queers well, and that's worth a sin off.
We were married for 18 years and she was only with him for 3.
What a strange way to work the parable of the workers in the vineyard into this show's plot. Also, why are all these victims negotiating for themselves? Shouldn't they all have attorneys present for this divorce settlement? Seems highly unlikely that at least one of them wouldn't have brought their own counsel.
It's your boy, DJ Incredible.
Ched, sitting cross-legged on the table when there are plenty of chairs available.
Miss Ramos, unconventional and excellent.
Was the unconventional part how she went against the very integrity of what it means to be a defense lawyer and put her own personal feelings above her clients'? Or maybe how she didn't even check with him before negotiating terms with his former spouses because everyone in the room rightfully hated him, even though she was literally supposed to be the one in the room looking out for his interests so the judicial system can work. Yeah, truly unconventional.
Trying to get a hold of you for weeks or months or days or whatever.
Right there with you, Jen. Watching this show can definitely make me feel like days or weeks or months are going by.
And you should see what my She-Hulk hair looks like.
Oh. Wait. Why exactly does the hair change? I've never thought about the hair part of this equation before, but considering hair follicles are dead cells, they really shouldn't be impacted. And with all the extra skull space, wouldn't the hair spread and thin out immensely? It's not like new follicles immediately grow to fill the in-between gaps. And oh dear sweet Lord in heaven, what about the fingernails? I considered removing a sin for a show not actually showing vomiting for once, but then I realized Jen threw up in the garden instead of finding a trash can or a toilet nearby, so my hands are tied. Punching Jen before she's had time to clean her face? As M1 said, Mom Spaghetti, there's about to be vomit on your knuckles already. You had more than one shot, Titania. There would have been more than one opportunity.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
You know, Jen's been punched in the face by a being with super strength, went flying across the patio, and fell to the concrete trying to punch Titania. Yet she doesn't even look like she has a scratch on her. Even her dress seems fine. Does she have powers in human form that I don't know about? I get needing to take on this fight, but upon becoming giant and sober, why is destroying private property the first thing She-Hulk does? You aren't an out-of-control Hulk. You're a totally aware and considered Shulk. Stop it with the disregard to the damage to the things and people around you. So, was this bridesmaid's dress fitted for She-Hulk instead of Jen? It looked baggy on Jen and is now perfect for She-Hulk, but why? It's clear that the bride never wanted She-Hulk to show up from the beginning, so how did the fitting even go down? Lulu's limit of a wedding just keeps on getting dumber and dumber. So, a little Googling told me that Titania got her powers from Dr. Doom, and while that's not relevant to this particular moment, I'm sitting Marvel for introducing this character before Dr. Doom.
My veneers.
Yeah, you hit the ground pretty hard, but is that more force than a punch from She-Hulk? Because she punched you in the mouth a few seconds ago and your veneers seem just fine.
Oh, Lulu, I know I promised.
You actually only promised not to show up as She-Hulk to the wedding, and this is the reception. It's a separate event and is therefore not bound by your prior verbal commitment. See? I can lawyering the law too. The director said, let's add references to Bitcoin and crypto to make sure it's clear this fake profile belongs to a bro hole. I'm just saying bidding the coin is the new biting the apple and it's already tropey enough for a sin.
Some of these are death threats. Jen is better off. Just let her live her life.
I understand not wanting to feed the trolls, but warning Jen about threats on her life doesn't give them attention. It just lets her know people are plotting against her, and that definitely seems like the safer option. Oh no, not the giant pointy thing in the yellow triangle box. Is She-Hulk in danger?
Some of these are death threats. The best thing to do is ignore it.
Previously on TVSins, sending a previously on of something they already sent previously on TVSins. Ignoring death threats is dumb. Keeping your phone this close to the sink. Do you know how nasty sinks are? And that's before we even talk about how waterproof it is or getting knocked to the floor. There's a shelf right there under the mirror and a flat surface over here by the wipes. You may be indestructible, Jen, but your phone certainly isn't. Look, if you aren't going to run a vent fan or something to keep your mirror from steaming up, do not use your hand to wipe it off. Are you drunk in a late night college frat party in the 1960s? Because all you're going to end up doing is streaking. Hey, I've seen that trick on TikTok. Disney's really going all in on these funky, fresh edits, huh? Also, shutting the door to get changed when you're the only one home. Acting like you're the one that invented the terrible idea of dipping fries in milkshakes. That's right. I said terrible. I see you salty sweet people. You've all clearly lost your minds. Drive-in theaters, for when the only thing you thought the movie-going experience was missing was the smell of gasoline and a cacophony of random engine noises. Oh, no. We're really doing the cliche Jen gets cleaning out of nowhere and obsesses over a guy not texting her backstory line? For the love of Jerry Ryan, this episode is 7 of 9 and we still haven't seen Daredevil. Sometimes this show is like one of those timeshare presentations where you have to stay until the very end to find out if your wasted time was worth the mystery gift. And the costume designer said, "Can we give Nikki a scarf with a bow so big it makes her look like her head is a Christmas present?" And then someone else was like, "Yes."
Why can't he just text me back? Why is that so hard?
Text pressure is real, and the idea that anyone owes you a text response is part of the reason we all deal with more relational anxiety than ever before. There was a day not too long ago where when you were in the same room, you had conversations, and when you left, you just stopped existing until the next time you saw each other. So give people a break if they don't want to be available 24/7, okay? Not giving the great Muppet caper your entire attention. Also, who cut out the part where the other inmates tell Miss Piggy to go for it before she bent the bars? This is the kind of studio interference that neuters great art. Not closing your blinds on a Sunday morning. This is not a decision a normal human makes. This is a decision a gaffer makes.
We don't have the resources for a squad of uniforms to go with me.
Hold up. You're the parole officer for a previous big bad in a Marvel movie, and they didn't assign extra resources to cover the possibility that he might transform into Abomination and do a repeat of Brooklyn? That seems highly unlikely.
I figure my chances of staying out of the ICU would be much greater if I had a Hulk there with me.
You do remember the collateral damage Hulk's cause, right? Bruce sent his share of loved ones to the ICU, including his girlfriend Betty at the start of the movie. If your goal is to stay out of the ICU, maybe pursue a different form of employment and stay away from Hulks and their enemies completely. Look at how close these three cars are parked to each other. There is no way the middle car parallel parked here, so either this guy's an asshole or this guy's an asshole, and I'm sending both just to be safe. Wait, so you haven't sent a follow-up text in the last 3 days either? You're granted at least one follow-up text before you start to sound desperate, especially after 24 hours. You could even start a new, "Hey, how's your day?" Otherwise, you might be the one inadvertently ghosting them because they somehow missed your one message. Distracted driving. Just because you'd survive a car crash by turning into She-Hulk doesn't mean whoever you hit would walk away unscathed.
Put on my green suit?
Yeah, get big, jolly green yourself. I don't know what you call it.
Hulking out.
Okay, good. Whatever. Then, would you, please?
Yeah, but not on camera, or in any way that would make us have to pay for more special effects than we already have to do in this episode.
But it was worth it because my favorite chicken, Princess Silkfeather, was stuck.
Playing favorites. Even with chickens, it's harmful. You're supposed to love all your babies equally. Do you know what happens when one sibling discovers their brother or sister is the favorite? They grow up bitter, join a YouTube channel where they spend their days nitpicking movies and TV shows. You wouldn't want to sentence your chicken to such an awful fate, would you, Emil?
I have recalibrated your inhibitor, and she is good to go.
Didn't Bruce Banner invent the inhibitor? Wouldn't it take someone of his intellect to recalibrate it? Or do all California parole officers have doctoral degrees in biochem tech? At the very least, shouldn't someone from the Avengers or Sheld or Sward be out here to help?
It's just two men working through their resentments in a safe environment, Jen.
That environment, of course, being the exact time you were leaving for plot reasons.
So much unnecessary backstory.
That wasn't really backstory, Jen. That was an explanation of an actual current processing of trauma. I mean, I agree. I could have also done without this man bullshit, but I would have fourth-walled more accurately.
I can't drive this. How am I supposed to go home now?
Are you sure it's undrivable? You didn't even pop the hood or try starting it. And if a dented hood, cracked windshield, and smoking engine prevented someone from driving, I wouldn't have made it to school every day in my '94 Dodge Neon. God rest its soul.
My name's Van Bull, not Mechanical Bull.
They didn't ask you to repair the vehicle. They asked you to push it, which has nothing to do with being a mechanic.
Yeah, that felt very forced.
Admitting your jokes are bullshit.
In our ceremonial sweat yurt, we integrate the past and the present into one being.
Yurts. Not the actual structures, just the word. Makes me think of yogurt, which makes me think of yoga. Wait, if you do yoga in a yurt, would you call it yogurt? What, you want me to leave after my terrible yoga pun? Nah, I'ma stay.
Clearly you're not in a teachable mood right now.
She didn't ask you to teach her, bro. I understand you want to help, but you need to wait for someone to ask first. It's like when Nami kept telling Luffy to leave her island during the Arlong Park saga. She kept throwing dirt at him, demanding he leave her alone as she cried. He patiently waited until she realized how badly she needed his help, and only after she asked for assistance did he provide it. Man, I wish I was watching One Piece instead of She-Hulk right now. Considering you've already pounded the no service part of the situation into our brains, do we really need the extra visual aid here? She's holding up her phone, or the full minute you spend on this unfunny gag to force the plot forward?
I just want to be me. Oh, hell yeah.
Entering a room without knocking to announce yourself.
I'm just gonna work over here in the 1 square meter of this property that actually has reception.
Square meter? Square meter? You take that back or I'm throwing you in the sweat yurt and cranking up the temperature to 45 degrees Celsius. But also, this appears to be sort of a superhero anonymous group, but everyone's cool to just keep sharing their shit with someone else in the room now. Also, she will immediately move away from this single 10.76 square feet of space and sit on the couch.
Remember how we talked about vulnerability and how important it is to the process?
You're just going to abandon Alguila and Manbull's issues to bounce to a separate problem? That's not really how a group therapy session works. I'm starting to question your abilities to run a retreat center that aids others in processing their identity issues.
How taking your suit off would be a great first step.
Title and complete content of my sex instructional pamphlet?
Sorry I'm late. I lost track of time in the yurt.
Interrupting what's supposed to be a private and safe space to discuss sensitive mental health issues by shouting, "Woo-wee! Have some tact, Wrecker."
That guy's here? You probably don't even remember who he is.
I don't.
Previously on this guy.
This is not one of the guys you were previously on, so this is misleading at best.
Come on, I stacked them!
You did not stack them. You lined them up. Stack implies a pile, and none of these chairs were on top of each other. Words mean things, Manbull.
I'm not getting my kicks. And I'm fine.
While Jin might benefit from working through some emotional issues, downplaying the fear and anger she carries as a result of being attacked in a dark alley by 4 men with magic weapons isn't a positive way to address her problems. I'm starting to suspect that the show that can't lawyer also might struggle with mental healthing.
Throwing people across the room into perfectly stacked chairs.
Perfectly stacked? You left an entire 2 feet or so between these chairs and the wall, Manbull. That's a waste of space. And that's before we even get to the uneven distribution between the 2 rows.
Hey, getting a little worried. Just want to know you're okay. Blushing smile emoji.
Look, I once texted a friend goodbye and they immediately called because they were worried I was in a car accident and laying in a ditch somewhere and using my last remaining energy to text them goodbye. I'm just saying this doesn't seem that bad.
Like, you think life would be so much easier if I were that person. Dad, but he's never...
All right, screw this guy.
She already did? Sheesh, pay attention. You're going to miss important plot points and sound like you're... Ooh, my BeatStart box is ready to be opened.
Delete Josh's number is what he said.
What? The guy could be kidnapped and trapped in a basement somewhere and you're just going to delete his number? Hell, the dude could just need a few days of space for some personal business. Just because the show has the Josh's evil bomb in the chamber doesn't mean anyone here should know that yet.
I will never forget any of you, honestly.
That's funny, because I already have. Whoa. That was not the same way she pulled him sexily into the room the first time we saw it. When we saw the same moment earlier, she grabbed his shirt all super sexy like and dragged him in, and now she's just grabbing his arm? Is this a clue? Does it mean something? Is Josh a secret Skrull? Is Reed Richards messing with time? Did Galactus create an alternate reality? Sorry guys, I'm just really ready for Phase 4 to be over. You kept the flash on while you're trying to be sneaky? Josh is a terrible spy. Oh no, not the blood chemical thumbs up emoji combo. Is She-Hulk in day? Using your post-credits twerking in the next episode's pre-credits previously on, just to really make sure meme culture got sick of it as quickly as possible.
Is this OLED or QLED?
It says right on the box that it's just plain old regular LED. So the sin, of course, is not reading. Parking your getaway van directly under the only streetlight in view so security cameras can get a better quality image of the would-be burglars. Why not park it over here where it's darker? I know you've got to walk further, but hey, even criminals shouldn't skip leg day.
Time to rivet and rip it!
Roll catchphrase commercials. Also, what exactly was the plan here if the suit didn't malfunction? To fly high in the air away from the bad guys and then land 50 feet away, I guess?
And you guessed it, I have 3rd-degree burns all over my legs.
No, you have 3rd-degree burns on the lower half of your legs. Your thighs, unfortunately, appear to be unharmed. If both of his legs are injured to the point that he shouldn't have weight on them, wouldn't that be a wheelchair situation and not a crutch situation? Show doesn't know how to ambulatory correctly.
I suggest that you try to come to an agreement with Mr. Jacobson, so then a filing would not be necessary.
Except Jen wouldn't be negotiating directly with Mr. Jacobson. She should be negotiating with his attorney. A flaw I believe we already seen back in episode 6, where Mr. Immortal's ex-wives were settling without their own legal representation present. So here's 10 sins for bungling law yet again, and only 4 minutes into the episode. New record!
I've never made a defective suit in all my life. My work is impeccable.
Never is a pretty strong statement, dude. Everyone makes mistakes. You might not have in this instance, but I'm sure you've erred in at least one suit throughout your career. You know what they say about pride and falls, right? It's a sin.
She-Hulk will never get another suit by Luke Jacobson ever again?
Not since Drake Ramore inherited the brain of Jessica Lockhart have I seen such a well-acted scene that ended in the words ever again. Double Janet Jacksoning your fashion dummy without explicit consent.
Mr. Jacobson, I see you are presently without counsel. Are you representing yourself?
If Mr. Jacobson was representing himself, that would have been made clear in a filing with the judge before this hearing ever began. But of course, the show wants to set up a dramatic reveal as if we'd excuse more shoddy legal writing for such a thing.
Then where is your counsel?
Oh, he's late. Not for any good reason, really, other than he wanted to make a big entrance, because apparently he was on his own show a while back on Netflix. Those Netflix big shots, they like to make an entrance, you know. Also, inadvertently making Iron Fist MCU canon.
I'd like to ask that the opposing counsel's motion to compel production of the defendant's client list be rejected, as it's not relevant to the litigation.
Who's this asshole?
Calling an attorney an asshole for displaying a superior knowledge of law compared to what you've demonstrated up until this point.
Yeah, it's a gross invasion of people's privacy based on a very shaky what if.
Jeffrey Wright isn't narrating me in this scene.
May I remind you that the Sokovia Accords have been repealed?
No, you may not. In fact, you're not allowed to ever mention the Sokovia Accords again. We're all tired of it. Thanks for asking. Also, the Sokovia Accords were an international agreement among 117 nations placing direct control of the Avengers under a United Nations body. Nothing in the Accords pertained to public identities of superheroes and would hardly be relevant in a local warranty case in Los Angeles. But hey, Marvel's gotta Marvel, I guess.
Yes, we can all tell he's lying, Mr. Murdoch.
Making an immediate judgment based on a we can all tell what's going on here assumption, instead of, due process.
An appletini? Cute.
Scene does not include a Dr. John Dorian also ordering an appletini at the bar.
Mind if I join you?
Sure.
Sure? As in you do mind? Doesn't this mean he should just stay put? Why do people always answer this question wrong?
Luke Jacobson made a couple of new suits for me, so I owed him one.
Doesn't really look like it.
It's a low blow insulting a blind man's clothes.
Okay, these two are fire together. I want more of this. I want all of this. I stand She-Devil or Dare Hulk. Whatever, take your sin off so we can move on.
His dad is a very important client, so he is a very important client.
Nepo babies, or the entire Nepo baby discourse. Take your pick.
And She-Hulk can help people when the law fails them.
That works for you because the public doesn't know your identity. If Matt Murdock can't help a client, Daredevil can, and none of it strays back to you. Everyone knows Jen is She-Hulk, so if she uses violence to help a client, it just backfire on them in court.
We're all feeling this, right? It's not just me.
Sure, but I'm more concerned that you haven't touched that appletini yet, which honestly makes you a teeny bit of an asshole.
Oh, you remember Todd, that gross tech bro with the She-Hulk fetish?
Yes, you previously oned him to us just 11 minutes ago, which you should remember since you were there, Kool-Aid manning the fourth wall as normal.
I mean, you gotta see it, right? So here it is. Check this out.
Actually, what I'd rather check out is the process your thumbs went through on that phone to open up the picture. Can we replay that? Why is he using both thumbs like he's texting when he's opening a picture? Wearing your high heels on a couch. Actually, wearing your high heels even 1 microsecond longer than necessary. How is this your first move? The person you're trying to save is in this vehicle currently suffering from whiplash you just caused.
My ass remains unwhooped.
Okay, one more sin removal for Charlie Cox, but this is the last time. I mean it. Throwing cars at people.
Whoa, Jen!
Even with his hearing damaged in season 3, Matt put up a better fight than this. But Jen lifts him up and he's unmasked like that? Damn, that's some Disney neutering right there. Hope Daredevil Reborn isn't like this. Also, why is Jen immediately transforming back just because she knows it's Matt now? He could still be dangerous and there's no reason not to stay Hulk. Well, no non-budgetary reason.
But I assume the guy dressed as the devil was the bad one.
That's Satanist.
Oh, crap. I'll go leave a note.
Saying what? Hey, She-Hulk here. Sorry for wrecking your private property. Do you have the money to pay for a destroyed sports car and repaving a garage and lot? Is your law firm going to pay for it? Show writes this off as a joke, but there's some serious legal questions here going unanswered.
Subtle.
I know, right? You are talking about the blatant and clunky promotion QR coding that these shows continue to do, correct?
Can't believe this dodo has henchmen.
He's a frog, not a dodo, Jen. And you can't just make up animals. What's your next fake creature going to be named? A puma? A walrus? Now stop talking and go back to smashing private. That's an order. Smashing privates.
Can I hear their heartbeats?
You can hear their heartbeats? Come on, that's a little far-fetched.
Jen Walters would be excellent at TVSins. Actually, no, she wouldn't. That would be a boring sin. Make a pun or something. I got it. Tell him you didn't realize he was hard of hearing. Never mind. Maybe your way was better.
Yeah, good thing She-Hulk is indestructible, Matthew.
All the more reason it's ridiculous that you are still standing here as Jen. Is that guy using a mini crossbow? How is that even frog themed? Why don't these goons have guns like Matt said they would? Can I ask whose idea it was to design these hallways with dim blue lighting? Was it the action coordinator wanting to be able to hide the seams in the action? I bet it was.
She-Hulk smash.
Depriving your audience of more Daredevil hand-to-hand combat in favor of a horrible catchphrase from Jen. Did the writers even watch any of the Netflix show? It's even on Disney Plus now.
Whoa, 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 hey, that's vintage!
No, Jen grabbed the Leapfrogger game, which is clearly your custom knockoff. The Frogger arcade unit, which actually is vintage, remains intact.
Temporary insanity is murky, but it's not a bad strategy.
I angle this more as a form of traumatic expression due to undiagnosed PTSD.
Playing Daredevil's advocate.
It's sad that you thought that would work.
It's even sadder that he went for the shoulder, aka the sturdiest blocking muscle in the body. Earlier in the electronic supply store parking lot, you fell from at least twice this height and were fine. Why did this specific fall destroy you? Is it because the episode's almost over and the writers needed the story to wrap up? I bet it was.
You'll make my gala dress?
Yes, of course. I'm not a monster. Try not to get too bloated between now and then.
You know what is monstrous? Body shaming. And aren't all of her clothes designed to stretch for transformation? Why would a little bloating even matter?
Thanks for your help with all this.
Thanks for your help.
Ego flirting. You cannot tell me there's not at least some paparazzi outside of Jen's house at all hours to get pictures of She-Hulk. This is LA, and Daredevil thinks it's cool to just walk in wearing his costume? Come on, this would be photographed and on social media before mourning. Before morning. Does anyone else ever wonder, what if the MCU had been meant for grown adults with rated R movies and TVMA shows? He asks right now, at this moment, for no particular reason.
It's weird you guys are still here.
Hold on. Let me just take a roll call of everyone who laughed at this bit. Bueller.
Seriously, what is this scene? This episode already came to a very satisfying conclusion. Trust me.
Shaming your episode for wanting its conclusion to come twice.
Is next episode the finale?
Lord willing and the creek don't rise, Jen. Then we can go back to sitting something more fun, like Mando.
Ooh, there's another Hulk, but this one's red.
Reminding me that we haven't gotten to see General Thunderbolt Ross's Rolk yet. Oh no, Marvel, you will not be getting away with these Wolverine teases without delivering soon. And now I need to see him transform his adamantium claws into makeup utensils, so you've really painted yourself into a corner now, and it's kind of your own fault.
This year's Female Lawyer of the Year award goes to Jennifer She-Hulk Walters.
Let's go!
Tara Hunter. Alice Chen.
Nice fake out, but aside from manufacturing a surprise, what reason is this MC putting such an emphasis on the first name he reads and leaving that huge space before announcing the second name? And what order are they even being announced in? Descending height?
Do you want to see who She-Hulk really is?
Oh, my identity is not a secret. This is busted.
This is the truth, presented by Intelligentsia.
Sure was nice of Intelligentsia to build in that 7-second pause in the video for She-Hulk to comment and get in a microphone joke. Very considerate.
Don't do it, Jen.
That's it? That was Intelligentsia's plan to ruin the reputation of She-Hulk? Show the world that she's an adult who engages in consensual sex with other adults? I mean, a mortifying invasion of privacy, sure. I'm not downplaying the psychological damage it could do to Jen as a person, but this was supposed to be a big, scary intelligence organization, right? Wouldn't video of Jen destroying that parking lot be more publicly damaging to leak? Wait, how did the specialized military squad get here so fast? Jen just smashed those screens. And they geared up, traveled across LA, and arrived here in the minute since she did that. What do they have, frog jets in their gear? Jen losing control and hulking out in rage is actually a fascinating concept I can't wait to explore. I'm super glad we have lots of time to dig into this, and they didn't wait until the penultimate episode to address it. 30 seconds of
Jennifer Walters, Esquire.
Okay, here's an extra sin for interrupting another one of my great Marvel's opening Hero-gasm is too long sins with your narration. And this one had a portmanteau I was really proud of that the world will now never hear. Also, narration.
Lawyer, millennial, searching for a way to balance a career and her personal life.
I was close to taking a sin off for this throwback to the 80s Hulk intro, but you waited into the finale to use it, and much like Daredevil, it just feels tacked on and wasted.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Cool line, but that's your cousin's catchphrase. You hated it when Ched tried to benefit from your name without permission. Why do you think it's okay to steal from Bruce? Huh, Jen?
But you're not just anyone. You are an out-of-control Hulk.
She seems pretty in control at the moment. Remind me again how many cities Bruce destroyed without winding up in prison.
That's what all the witnesses saw.
I mean, the witnesses also saw Jen's ass while she was having sex as she was recorded and broadcast without her permission, right? It's not like their memories were erased of everything that happened before the destruction. I think at least some folks would be willing to give Jen the benefit of the doubt here. She was at an event for honoring women, for crying out loud. They won't all victim blame her. We never find out if this mug came with a matching "See you at the trial, crocodile" partner mug. And I hate missed opportunities like that.
So I will continue to work here because they paid me nicely.
Doing what exactly? Wasn't she Jen's paralegal? Did there just happen to be another vacancy as Jen got canned?
The female cousin of the Hulk, popularly known as She-Hulk, has been released from custody.
I've endured so much exposition throughout these 9 episodes, and the fact that the show never found an alternate way to deliver exposition, it's left me with anger issues. Unfortunately, I have a job to do, so I'll be channeling that rage into Cinny in the form of 9 extra gamma-ray boosted sins. Sorry, Cinny. Was there really no other option for a living arrangement for Jen other than resorting to the moving back in with the folks trope? You'd think she would have crashed with Nikki or found a minimum wage job rather than going back to her parents. Seems more like the show just wanted a quick trip to rock bottom. Character motivations be damned. This person's middle name is apparently Doctor.
Intelligentsia is made up of exclusively dumb dudes.
If only. Unfortunately, Intelligentsia likely has some very intelligent men in there that know exactly what they're doing. It'd be easy if it were only dumb people who ascribe to this kind of anti-woman rhetoric. Being intelligent doesn't preclude you from having hateful beliefs. Horror franchises that can be summarized by one picture and a question.
I thought you might get a kick out of this video that Jen and her friends made in Los Angeles.
You might think we'd send Elaine for being a caricature of embarrassing moms, but let's face it, this video probably wouldn't even make our top 10 things a family member is held onto so they can embarrass us later lists. What I will sin is the timing of the Deus Ex Twerkina that Nikki will use to expose Todd. And mostly because I wanted to say Deus Ex Twerkina. Wait a second, what time is it? If it's 12:18 in the afternoon, then why is it dark outside? If it's 12:18 at night, then why the is Elaine up and bringing everyone sandwiches? Also, this sin would have been half as long if we all agreed just to use the damn 24-hour clocks. It's not difficult to add 12 people.
This isn't even a reluctant superhero story. I'm just getting screwed over.
Jen would be excellent at TVSins.
Is this what you guys want?
Thinking fans know what they want. Holy sh**, that might be the funniest gag in the show.
Jennifer Walters is a woman at a new low. She has no more fight.
We're not doing a narrator. We're not that off the rails.
Okay, Jen, you're now literally writing entire sins for the channel, and you're making us look bad. I mean, good? Should I feel vindicated right now? Stop making me feel things.
I'm not running from my problems. It's a mental health break.
Teaching people that you have to qualify your mental health breaks. You don't. Ever. Yes, I mean you. Go, drink some water.
Forgive me, Jen, for this transgression.
These comments are coming in far too quickly. Internet trolls are famously quick to type and slow to think, but they aren't grab a timestamp of a thong appearance in less than 3 seconds quick.
Okay, well, that was easy. Or am I a genius?
Thinking that violating your best friend's last shred of privacy somehow makes you a genius. Shouldn't she have maybe run this plan by Jen first? Yes, she should.
Pug, are you still here? I need a favor.
Nice try, Nikki, but you already redeemed the favor Pug owed you to find the guy connected to Jen's superhero costume designer. Have you repaid his favor yet? Did you wait in line with him to get those sick new sneakers?
Females, am I right?
I understand using these trolls as a caricature for incels, but they don't always talk like that. A few minutes of social media browsing will show you they can often be scarily articulate. Instead of parody, this caricature just comes across as lazy, which is a shame because they should be the easiest group in the world to intelligently satirize.
Is She-Hulk better than the Hulk? No. Is she as strong as him? Is she as smart as him?
What blows my mind is it's exactly these types of individuals who are behind the review bombing this show unfairly received. It's wild to me that the show is a victim of the very thing it's pointing out. So here's a sin removal for the writer's ability to predict the future, as depressing as that might seem.
I'm really proud of us for hacking She-Hulk's phone.
Why isn't Pug or Nikki recording the Wasn't that the whole point of being here? Okay, maybe she was recording a phone call on her end, but that just makes this sudden drop out of service super fucking convenient. And why wouldn't Pug be wearing a wire or recording on his phone since he's the one in the damn room?
We showed the world what a real monster she is.
Oh, come on. You leaked a video of 2 consenting adults having sex, which resulted in an outburst from one of the exposed adults. The only folks convinced she's a monster after viewing that video are the deacons over at First Baptist. And even then, only if you add in a clip of Jen dancing.
I don't think anybody can really understand what I'm going through right now, except Emil, since he went through literally the exact same thing.
Huh, I literally missed that part in The Incredible Hulk where a literal sex tape featuring Emil literally got leaked in literally public fashion. I suppose it literally must have been a post-credits scene.
Emil?
Jennifer.
Because, of course, the big intelligentsia meeting is taking place at Emil's retreat on the one day that Jen decides to turn up unannounced. This is more convenient than Jen not noticing the dozens of cars that should have been parked near the retreat because none of these bro holes carpooled. Also, show skips a flashback scene showing Tony Stark's dad inventing clothing that will flawlessly shrink with a super being and how it became accessible to a prisoner on parole who shouldn't even be using their powers.
My team also synthesized your blood, so it could safely give me all the powers you never should have been given in the first place.
How? Is your team Hydra or the Kree? What team of rogue biochemists could you have quietly paid for without Shaeld or Sward discovering them?
This is not gonna work, right? We're not actually doing this.
Look, I actually really like the fourth wall breaks, but we're watching this unfold at the same time as you, Jen, so what do you want from us? If you've got an issue with how the show is written, why don't you go and talk to the writers? Like that would happen. Yeah, I know that's exactly what's about to happen, and this is me breaking the fourth wall because I can't wait to see how future me is going to send that. Nice try, Marvel, but I'm not rewatching The Eternals again, at least not until you release Blade and I need to pretend to care about Black Knight's origin story.
All right, let's see here.
Honestly, I don't know if this is complete genius or jumping the shark, but it is original and it was not something I ever expected Marvel to do, and that's worthy of acknowledgement. Sure, it kind of breaks the universe if you think about it too hard, but after the time travel in Endgame, I invested in some vibranium-lined quantum-inverted suspenders to hold up all of my disbelief.
What do we get if the entirety of the second season is one extended dream sequence?
Unless your name rhymes with Sisterfer Tolan, I don't want to hear the words dream sequence come out of your mouth.
There are certain things that are supposed to happen in a superhero story.
Meaning that Marvel is not only aware of this, but by including it in the scene, also appears to agree that it's bullshit. And yet, they continue to do it anyway. Are they trolling us? Because I'll give back every Marvel TV show sin we've ever given, and half of Season 8 of Game of Thrones too, if the next phase of Marvel actually breaks away from this formula.
I'm going to go talk to Kevin now.
So Jen has confronted the writers of the show, who've already finished writing the show, so that she can reshape the ending of the finale of a show that has already been written, filmed, and released to the world. But if she's acknowledging that she's in a TV show, that still means that someone wrote this sequence, so where are they? This is a problem with fourth wall breaks. The walls just end up getting replaced with something slightly more confusing and slightly less load-bearing.
Everyone has to sign the NDA.
Jen signs this without reading it as if she isn't supposed to be a f***ing lawyer. Why are there only 5 essentially unarmed guards responsible for protecting Kevin, master of all things Marvel? Also, glad we're okay with our hero beating up people who are just doing their jobs and had nothing to do with writing a disappointing ending to a TV show.
Kevin?
It stands for Knowledge Enhanced Visual Interconnectivity Nexus.
Knowledge? That starts with an N sound. That changes everything, because according to my GIF friends, the sin here is that it's not pronounced Nevin.
The visual effects team has moved on to another project.
In light of the headlines that have since surfaced about how Marvel reduces its VFX teams to atoms, maybe the inclusion of this joke is a tad bit insensitive.
Yes, I make the decisions. I possess the most advanced entertainment algorithm in the world, and it produces near-perfect products.
Okay, this is so perfectly tongue-in-cheek that I have to applaud Marvel for the beautiful self-awareness bot that is Nevin.
Can we agree that it is a legal comedy?
Comedy? Sure, I laughed a few times. Legal? I think I made my feelings clear on the show's lack of attention to detail over legal matters.
Then I would like to give my closing argument.
Oh, haha, I see what you did there.
Well, I would hope so, because didn't the perfect algorithm also write this as well? I hate thinking fourth dimensionally.
But it's often said that Marvel movies all end the same way.
Wait, who's saying that?
How is Nevin not aware of this? Shouldn't a true AI be learning from all the opinions on the internet and synthesizing a solution? How is one of the earliest MCU critiques news to them?
But Bruce is supposed to return to explain what he was doing
No,
on
we don't need to hear any of that.
But we were going to introduce...
Save it for the movie.
Go, Jen! Give each show enough space to be its own thing. But also, here's a sin for being a dirty, rotten Hulk tease.
Todd!
Okay, I was going to give Jen a pass on She-Hulking up until this point because she wasn't technically in the show, but isn't this a violation of her parole? Why is everyone okay with her suddenly losing the inhibitor? Did no one notice when it left this plane of existence? Wait, did Nevin just stick Daredevil in a tree and have him buffer until it was his turn to appear? I'm so confused right now. This is a problem with having Jen tweak the ending like this. We don't know to what extent things got butterfly affected, and the only sinless answer would be none at all.
If you sign this, you go back to prison for 10 years for violating your parole.
I'm pretty sure you don't just sign a paper and then go back to prison. There's got to be a judge involved, and see, this is exactly why I wouldn't call this a legal comedy. Also, if she got fired from her lawyer job, then she isn't Emil's legal counsel anymore. Someone else from GLK and H would be, right?
So you don't make a lot of money.
And Rebecca, you don't ask people how much money they make.
Technically, she didn't ask how much money Matt makes. She just said he doesn't make a lot of money. Your witness, counselor.
This is my son, Scar.
Not saving it for the movie. Also teasing me with a World War Hulk storyline I know Marvel will never be allowed to give me. Or at least that's what I heard some nerd shouting about on the internet. I think his name was TV$_narrator.
She-Hulk, the superpowered woman known as the cousin of the Hulk, has been cleared of her previous conviction.
So Jen has her job back just like that? I'm not saying it was fair, but it is strongly implied that she was fired because her outburst after the sex tape leak meant she was unstable. That still happened. Nothing about this finale has changed that. Okay. Now that I know we're in the clear from the fourth wall stuff, here's my final word on the matter. She-Hulk dedicates its finale to pointing out the comic tropes and cliches that the MCU is famous for. But guess what? They're cliches for a reason. Deep down, most casual moviegoers love that shit. And guess what again? We all do it. Pick a TVSins video at random. It'll be filled with is good at TVSins and they survive this and... Or some kind of comedic triplet that occasionally stretches into a fourth point that doesn't always hold up as well as the previous three. Look, cliches are comfortable. The sin isn't using them. The sin is relying on them as the sole source of entertainment in lieu of a compelling story. Marvel's telling us that they hear the criticism, but until they act on it, I'm still sinning it. Tacking on one last gag when your previous scene summed up everything very nicely and eloquently. Cliche.
I need to remember to keep my mouth closed when I bust through walls.
Isms, in my opinion, are not good. A person should not believe in an ism. He should believe in himself.
Seems like he was pretty busy.
Pretty good.
You're Hulk again.
Smart Hulk.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't come up with it. You never have a choice with these names.
Hello. Name's Bruce.
Shut down all the garbage mashers on the detention level, will ya?
I'm sorry, the idea of being a superhero is not appealing to me. I'm not you.
I don't want your life.
Why wouldn't you listen to someone who's been through all this before?
Shut up! You're not my dad!
You're not your f***ing khakis. Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but for me, the beast doesn't include selling out.
Gonna be a cassette of the movie. We're still in the middle of making it. Oh, that's true, sir. But there's been a new breakthrough in home video marketing. There is? Yes. Instant cassettes. They're out in stores before the movie is finished.
Oh, yeah!
This is Jen. Leave a message.
Yeah, hi, it's Bill Lumberg. It's about 10 o'clock. Yeah, just wondering where you are.
Maybe I should have just let those people get smushed by that desk.
Sweetheart.
Dolly Parton wouldn't do that.
You got me fired, now you want to hire me.
To be head of a new division, yes.
So before you come back here with another lame-ass offer, I want you to think real hard about what your spine is worth, Mr. Walker.
I made you guys a welcome basket.
Oh!
With chocolate turtles, with raspberry jam, and a little bit of fat and salt.
This is Jen. Leave a message.
This is Carmox. I have intercepted sexual communications between you and my new girlfriend, Kiara. I am coming to kill you now!
But then you went on a destructive rampage in Harlem. That wasn't sanctioned by the government.
You don't understand the metaphor?
I have here
various haikus that I've written.
Oh boy.
To each of my victims, expressing the sorrow.
Oh, you don't have to.
If you'd like to experience them.
That's okay.
You think you're so smart with your fancy little words? This is not so hard.
There you are. Hello.
Ann, this is George Peterson.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Sorry, you thought you were dating Megan Thee Stallion? A multiple Grammy Award winner megastar Megan Thee Stallion?
That's what she said.
Mr. Blonsky is currently in a long-term committed relationship with several pen pals, all of whom have pledged to financially support him.
Excuse me, if I could, may I clarify?
No.
I love being the center of attention because it's really where I should be. And I love the looks my ladies give me, you know, a little glint. I love that.
Force is not necessary.
So chill, baby cake.
You, however, had time to hide the gun, didn't you, Chutney? After you shot your father.
I didn't mean to shoot him. I thought it was you walking through the door.
The ancient art of levitation.
Are you not entertained?
He sent me to a deaf dimension, and a talking goat helped me escape a lava pit in exchange for 6 drops of my blood.
What I like about blood, you just need one drop. One drop, baby. Put it in the box and then you get your results.
Notice how I use the word magician in quotes. Not using it right, Joe.
So first he gave me roses that didn't smell like anything, and then he pushed me into a fireland.
Well, perhaps the laws of physics cease to exist on your stove.
The demon, I think his name was Jake.
Jake from State Farm.
You did this same trick at a show last week, and my friend Kayla ended up stranded in a parking garage in Pomona.
The Californians.
I'll be right back.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back.
Kind of a bummer way to end this episode. I bet there's a fun tag.
Yeah, I'm Tag Man. I live in the tags.
I'm so sorry, little child. Everyone hates you.
We'll fork you too.
I need a favor.
Oh, well, you know my price. Return favor, plus interest.
I'm not gonna kill my dad.
Why did I pass a billboard on Santa Monica Boulevard today advertising a She-Hulk booty boost smoothie?
That's not actually me.
I'm gonna stop you because, you know, none of that's my concern.
Okay.
I don't know how to f***ing drive. I don't know what any of this is, and I'm f***ing scared.
First of all, sham.
Wow.
I don't actually need a suit like that. I just need a business suit.
No capes.
We had a great date. She battled demons. I mean, come on.
I was wondering if you wanted to grab a drink with me tonight, if you're not busy. If you are, it's completely and totally fine. We could do it another time, tomorrow or next week or never at all ever.
Oh, what's in the box?
Taking all the attention away from me with your...
You know what the difference is between you and me? I make this look good.
I'm a good guy. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but you know. I was drunk and angry and stupid.
And blogging.
After any of the ends of these
Jen, your
Oh
groomsman
my
is here.
God, he's here.
Jen, you're so lucky.
Sonny, you will be sorely missed, you little bat-faced piece of shit.
So I think I had a class with you.
Oh yeah? What class?
History.
Maybe.
Yes, I think that's what it was. You don't necessarily might not remember me. You know, I like it here. It doesn't mean because I go here I'm a genius.
I can't imagine you calling me on a Sunday is good news.
Donuts. Is there anything they can't do?
I know exactly who I am.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
Do I look like a mechanic? My name's Man Bull, not Mechanical Bull.
What a terrible joke!
So I realized real strength comes from facing yourself in the mirror and saying,
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
How many hours a day have you been wearing that mask, Papa?
This is the way.
Delete it, delete it, delete it, delete it, delete it.
Deleted!
I want to see the super suit that Luke made you.
Where's my super suit?
I have been retained by a client who suffered serious injuries due to a dysfunctional suit that you sold him. Now nothing has been filed, so I think we can come to some agreement.
How dare you?
I used to design for gods.
I love Wakanda. You know, I actually studied abroad there.
Really?
Wakanda forever! Don't ever do that again.
Go, call the police.
Green?
Though I will continue to work here because they pay me nicely.
Spank you, helpy helper done.
So I thought you might get a kick out of this video that Jen and her friends made in Las
Mom,
Vegas.
no. My mission, I'd like to see this. No.
The Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France.
Huh?
There was a young lady from Venus whose body was shaped like a...
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Cork. I'm kind of like the leader in here.
There are certain things that are supposed to happen in a superhero story.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
The Enrichment Center is required to remind you that you will be baked, and then there will be cake.
This is my son, Scar.
Whoa.